what I'm talking about. Says we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Yeah, we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. I said we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Yeah, we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Says we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Said we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Come on. I said we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. We all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. We all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Come on, y'all.
And that ain't no crime. And that ain't no crime.
It's Friday. I'm Rusty.
All right. Hey, everybody.
Hey, folks.
Woo-wee.
Some handsome legs you got there, Dan.
What's up, funky?
Handsome legs.
Welcome back to another Gangstagrass live stream hangout. Tell us what's on your mind, and we will.
Log one.
If we can make you even more anxious about it, we will.
Sure, I appreciate that. My legs are looking good, but also, do you like my pink Mewtwo tail back here?
Yeah. That's what we'll call it. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Your Mewtwo tail. Mm-hmm.
Tail,
Yeah.
remember?
That's what we're calling it now?
I just figured you just started detaching it because you already had a kid.
Wow.
Nice.
Isn't that a song?
Yeah. Well, can we talk about this OG Barnstormer thing for a second? Because
Who?
we're at about a year since we started our super awesome club, the Barnstormers.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we're gonna sort of confer OG status on everybody that is signed up by June 1st. So that will be forever enshrined as our early adopting supporters in the Barnstormers with some special goodies. And we're plotting right now what kind of awesome thing we could do for all the Barnstormers that have subscribed by the end of May. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we actually had a whole meeting with a producer of this really cool thing today, and I think we're gonna make it happen for you guys. So
And if that's not vague enough for you.
I feel like I've gotten to be a master of vague in the last
See
few
what
months.
happened. We're gonna do a thing for y'all.
Super vague. Super vague.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like all this stuff that's going on.
But here's
Wow.
the bottom line: is we are giving out all kinds of special goodies to the subscribers in our Barnstormers program. The link is there on the screen, and we'll put it in the chat. And there's actually going to be an extra layer of goodness coming out for all of the people that have subscribed by the end of this month. So if you're not already a Barnstormer, now's the time to do it. If you are a Barnstormer, you know it's cool. They have the Barnstormers that are Barnstormers testify in the comments section that it is a great thing to do. So if you're already in there with us, thank you, of course. And this is a good time to let some of your friends that like Gangstagrass know about how cool it is and that they should get in on this by the end of the month.
And we should specify, let them know how cool we are is a big part of it, obviously. But you're also letting them know how cool you are, because you are somebody who's been with us, you know, maybe for a long time, maybe for a little time, maybe you just discovered us this year. But I mean, honestly, like this year is kind of like, what better time to discover us? And, you know, it was a hard time for everybody. It was a hard time for us. And it just, you know, we're doing this not as just sort of a random, like, what can we do today to like tell people to go do a thing. We're really doing this as a way to say to you that we see how awesome you are for, you know, being there with us for, you know, for like this period especially, you know. So just thanks for sticking with us. And that's really why we're doing this, and that's why we're doing it now. And then we're going to cut it off. We're going to stop it. So, you know, if people join after whatever certain cutoff it is.
May 31st.
Is it May 31st? Okay.
Yep.
So if
End
somebody joins us in June, that's great. And of course we appreciate that. But we just wanted to say, like, you know, you were here first, and that's cool. That's really cool. And we see that and we appreciate that. So,
and Joe, you know, when you talk about this stuff and when you put things in that way, I really always, all the time, I'm just imagining power of heart. We need to get you a ring.
It's this pigtail, man. It's when I put my hand back there, you can't see it. It like censors it. You can't see
it should censor it.
You can't see it.
And be careful, the next emote will be that tail.
That's okay, man. That's okay. If somebody does screenshot yet, let's do it.
That's a good choice. Yeah, I mean, we especially appreciate it because this was the year of not touring. And for a bunch of touring musicians whose whole, you know, life is, and whose whole, you know, large amount of the income stream is touring, to have that just disappear was such a, you know, such a shock to the system. And it was the Barnstormers that made it so that we could get through that time. It really truly was. And that's another big reason that we want to recognize the OG Barnstormers, because again, if you join in June, that's awesome and we love you and you're going to get all the great Barnstormers goodies. But the people who were here for us in this first year, starting it, building it from the ground up, giving us feedback about what worked and what didn't, you know, where do I go to do this, and us sort of learning it too. You worked with us on this and helped us make it through a really difficult time. And it was like the Barnstormers, seriously, we are not exaggerating, we're central to the enterprise. And we want to recognize that. So those OG Barnstormers are going to get goodies forever. Like, this is not just a, we have this one thing in mind for you. This is a forever, you will be in our database as the OG Barnstormers, the people who were there for us at the beginning when it mattered the most. So thank you to everybody who's already a Barnstormer. And if you're not already, because you've been hanging out with the live streams and you've been supporting, maybe you've been throwing bits or donating, which is all totally awesome, join us in the Barnstormers before the end of May so that we can know that you were part of the ground level, and make sure that we keep rewarding you forever and ever and ever as things get better, because it was able to continue through this time thanks to you guys. Really.
And raise my glass to the OGs.
Yeah. Anybody that joins the Barnstormers in the next hour and a half or so is going to get a shout out right here on the live stream.
Yeah.
So hop on up.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about this.
then you're
Um,
Or not.
probably
and-
not.
Or definitely
don't.
not.
We need the bleep button. We need like the 5-second delay bleep
That's-
button.
if that's the start of your sentence, move on to a different sentence.
Yes.
Okay, We were thinking about-
Have you ever heard somebody say, "I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about this," and then that was the end of the sentence? Have you ever heard that?
Never happened.
No, not even today.
Somebody's like,
Actually, yeah. I've said that several times in the past month or so. It's like there's some, I can't tell you that. Never mind.
sort of like when
Well, you
people-
will know.
But somebody's like, I mean, I'm not a racist, but, and you're just like, just whoop, close that door.
Is that what you were going to say, Farrell? Are you going to say that you're not a racist, but
I'm not a racist, but we were thinking about doing foot massages for the Barnstormers. We were thinking about it. We were just thinking about it. We were just thinking about it.
You were thinking about.
Yeah, Pharaoh was thinking about it. For the higher tiers, if you want to join at platinum or above, you can contact Pharaoh.
Or a foot rub.
Yep.
But curious,
BE Pharaoh
do you
on
want foot
Instagram.
massages from us, or do you want to give us foot massages?
yeah, if you join at nickel, you have to give me a foot massage.
Only if there's barbecue involved.
What? Oh no.
I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to talk about that, but Barnstormers.
No.
Keep your ears peeled.
So our guest tonight is a decency legend. A legend of the clean airwaves. And barbecue feet are done from the conversation for now.
There's nothing
I mean, it
neither
depends on
profane nor
depends on which
vulgar
feet
about
you're
that.
doing.
Oh, you're gonna have to be a guest on my only feed, Stan. I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue.
You're saying decency, right, Sleeve?
Right, it really is. I mean, in fairness, we are all having good, clean fun here, which I appreciate, and go us for keeping it clean. And these aren't even the public airwaves per se, although that is a whole other conversation that we could potentially get into tonight about the what is a public airwave and how do we need to treat it, like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, our guest is more, I wouldn't say necessarily decency legend. It's more like someone who is culturally conscious, as far as the way art drives culture and reflects what's going on in culture in general.
Exactly. Yeah, decency has a lot of baggage attached to it as a word.
Yeah.
But but just real quick, Dan, what are you reading?
Oh no, I'm
Grandma.
writing in my journal.
But
But if it looks like I'm contemplative, it's because I can't remember what happened yesterday at all. It's like a hole in my head. That's why I asked what day it was, because there's no entry for yesterday. I think I have to just skip it. I'm just gonna skip it and make some stuff up and come back to it later.
It's called-
This is just to look cool. I just not really.
Yesterday.
It's called being a new father.
Yep.
Not knowing what day it is. You're like,
It
wait,
looked a
what did I
lot
do
like
yesterday?
today. It was very similar to today, and it was similar to the day before it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't
Yeah.
remember. That's why I'm writing it down.
On behalf of the Team Daddy Shit Club, I would like to tell you, forget yesterday, man. Sorry.
Yeah. Don't stress it. Don't stress it. It happened. You made it through it. You're good.
Like an etch a sketch. Just shake that sucker.
Shake it off. Keep it moving.
I'm gonna leave it blank because it's a 5-year
you can
journal.
do.
So in the next few years, I'll look back and be like, "Wow, that was just a hole."
There's going to be way more of those, my friend. There's going to be way more of those.
Yeah.
You got put that thing down and look for it a week later, like, where did it go? They'll be like, oh, wow. And then in 5 years, when you go back, like, what happened that week? All right, whatever.
It's like, why is this? Why is there just a bloody handprint on this page?
Yeah, right.
I don't think that's blood.
He'll crack his head open while you're writing, and then you'll take care of him. Get some blood on the page, forget about it for 3 days, come back.
Why is it followed by 5 pages with just chocolate on it? It's like, wait a minute, chocolate?
Yeah, I'm thinking you can follow up, one of those days with nothing in the journal has to be followed by an entry that's like, I woke up this morning covered in Jell-O in a dumpster in Tijuana with no clothes next to a clown. Just to make sure that whatever that was that you missed on that day, you'll just imagine later that it was that.
You know what? I was with my friend.
Tijuana Clown Thursdays, man. That's what it was.
Welcome to our guest, Paul Porter, as we talk about being a new dad and what that is like.
I gotta put this one thing in here. A weekend or two ago, I was staying with my friend, helping her out with her kid. She's new mom and just going through a breakup. And I just watched this kid just like put these random stains in places, and I just took note. And I was just sitting there like, there's some brown stuff on the screen. There's a spot on the wall. And before I left, I made sure to be like, hey, I just want to point out all these random stains because I'm sure you're going to ask yourself later where these came from and how it happened. And it was a great trip for us both.
Wow.
Hi, Paul Porter. How you doing?
He was here and they just
Wow. Yeah.
I'll
wait until they're done this conversation.
You're doing it and it's like, oh no, this is lunacy. I'm out of here.
No. I'm trying to make it dark and mellow in here. But
what's going on, man?
No, man. It's a Friday. I'm a couple of weeks away from. I had a tragedy. I told Dolio.
Yeah.
My boy came to town, man, at 55 years with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And he was here 16 hours before he passed.
Oh man.
So it was bittersweet. He had stage 4 for 13 months. And they told him, he had 4 months to live. So his big thing the whole time was his bucket list. I was number 1 on his bucket list. And we've been trying to do this since like October. But anyway, he got here and he just wanted to chill out, and have some fun. We called everybody we knew for life. His kids, family, friends from the old neighborhood, people. And he had a meal that Saturday night. The next morning, I took him. The big joke was that, he was so light from the cancer, he wanted to get some sun. 11 months of Duke University giving you the hardest shit. So anyway, I drop him at the pool the next morning at 10 o'clock. He calls everybody he knows for an hour. I hit him, say, I'm coming back to get you. I get there 13 minutes later, he's face down in the water. And, I jumped the fence and shit, trying to act like Superman. That's why my shoulder's fucked up and I'm in pain. But, did CPR. He was basically brain dead. They got a pulse. So I know God had a plan for us to get together, but I'm like, the ending was like bittersweet. Yeah. But I know he was real happy and shit. So, and on that note, we'll just end the room and call it a night. No, I'm only kidding. Good to see you. But the upside was at 10 o'clock that morning, and he passed at noon. He says to me, Paul, if I died today, I'm happy. I got to see my boy. He's like, my girls are good. He said, shit, Renee and Michelle send me money. Whose kids send them money? So he was really happy. And making that call to his wife was like the toughest call. And I talk shit for a living. But how do you call and tell a wife of 35 years your husband is drowned? And the best part of it, and this is the up note, the first thing she said to me was, Paul, this is not on you.
She said Garner was the happiest he's been since he's had cancer. This is all he talked about. So that shit hit me because she didn't even go frantic. She went directly there. And I said, that's some powerful shit, how people can have peace, you know, at a time, you know, and I know they were prepared for him to die because he was, but it was just another lesson. And that's all this shit is about, is lessons, you know. Some good music sometimes.
You're getting a lot of love in the chat from folks and condolences. Lots of hearts flying across the screen. So
yeah, we're really sorry to hear about you losing him. That sounds like must have been really tough.
But Rich, it was good.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, of course, I've done a lot of crying and pouting, but I'm like, imagine having cancer for 13 months, feeling like shit. He didn't eat for 3 weeks before he came. He couldn't hold down food. So anyway, you know, I know the upside because everything we talked about was like so powerful. And it's reignited my own shit now because I'm like, wow, because he kept the bad parts of cancer to himself, you know, and this let you know the jokes. He was the Joker, man. That's why we were Batman and Robin. But let's get into it, man. Enough of that, man. I don't want to blow up on, but it's a good place to start for sure.
Well, yeah.
I think we can all appreciate that because we've all, you know, in our families, especially with COVID, have been dealing with close ones, either being in close to it or have passed on, and appreciating those legacies or appreciating those people, you know, whether they're passed or they get to stay here is really important right now. And it's something that I think I don't think enough of us appreciate sometimes when it comes to this pandemic, and it's not at the forefront where a lot of people have left us, and we got to appreciate those people, like warm-heartedly appreciate those people. I learned just recently a family member of mine almost passed because of one of my cousins who just showed up at their place and was like, hey, I just wanted to hang out. And I was like, well, did you do any precautions? Almost gave this particular family member, can't say names because she doesn't want anybody to know, but she almost passed because of COVID because he came through, and I didn't know that, and we had been talking, you know, throughout this, and it was a big shocker to me, and definitely made me take some time to just really enjoy this person a lot more, and yeah, I think we all just need to appreciate that with a warm heart.
You're good.
But since we just got you on the call, it would be an injustice for us not to introduce you properly.
Here.
Please. Dolio, take it away.
Go for it, Dolio,
yeah. Or sleeves. Yeah. I know you too.
One of us, I guess, would be good. But for those of us who are joining us on the stream, our guest tonight, it's impossible to fit his entire legacy into a single sentence or a paragraph. But as far as I'm concerned, and many of my ilk, we consider him a legend in the music industry in general, radio, television. His voice is unmistakable. We're going to be talking a lot about all of this tonight. This is Paul Porter, and everybody from where I'm from, and especially in our community, the name rings more than just bells. You know, it strikes memories.
They were.
So I feel tremendously honored to have you on our show tonight.
Thanks, man. That's a nice way to say that I'm this old. No, but yeah, man. It's been fun. You know, the beauty of this game is that you actually get better. And you guys are no rookies. And you know the difference of 10 15 years ago where you're at. Imagine another 15 of, building on where you're at. I'll be 64 years old in September. So I've seen some shit, The first person I knew in the industry was Nina Simone.
Oh,
and her husband,
Wow.
Andy Stroud. I used to spend weekends there. And I was, 8, 9 years old. I didn't know what she was doing on the piano, but I did know they had a Lincoln Continental that was black and a big house in Mount Vernon, So that's what caught my eye first. And then I was hooked. And another neighbor in the neighborhood, he worked at CTI Records. And back then when jazz was actually popular and you can hear instrumentals on the radio, he sent me to college with the George Benson album, Idris Muhammad, Sea Wind, and I was like hooked. I was like, wow, this music game. And some of the, like my favorite song of all time, I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, and James Brown lived like 40 blocks away, straight down the street, same street. And he had the black wrought iron gates that said JB on them. And back in the day, I grew up in the 60s. So I wanted to be like Nina Simone's stepson, my buddy, Bucky and Rennie. They were Puerto Rican. They were light-skinned and had pretty hair and shit. And, that was like the look. You didn't want to be called black. And then James Brown came out with Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. And the whole country turned to being black. And everybody, we used to ride and raise our fists, say it loud. Man, 1968. And that's the power of music, where you can change minds and uplift and inspire. So, yeah, it's been a ride. But thanks for that intro.
Yeah.
Well deserved, man. Very well deserved.
Yeah, Sleeves and I've been singing praises because like I'm most of the way through with this, but I haven't been able to put this down since I cracked the pages today. This like the first couple pages just kind of got me sucked into it, man. It's like
that intro is a killer.
Man, you jump all the way in, you're like neck deep into it from the first page. It's crazy.
Come on, y'all.
That sound you're hearing, by the way, Paul, is we keep getting more followers. People are already super excited about this conversation.
Cool.
Welcome Knight Gunther and Yo Yogurt 90 and everybody who is subscribing and following. Thank you very much. And yeah, this book, I'm an editor by trade, and as a result, and my whole background is journalism, but as a result, I'm a super slow reader, and I tore through Blackout. I have not read a book this fast in a very long time.
It's a short book, though.
I mean, even still, like it was normally, no matter how short the book is, I'm going to leave the last third. That's just, and that wasn't even, before I knew it, I was 2/3 of the way through the book. It's just a great, great read. And as Dolio says, you jump right in. I mean, should we do that? Should we jump right into the depths of it, or should we like ease folks into it? Because this is a whole thing.
I think we should jump right in, and we should also put up a link for the best place to go and pick up a copy of Blackout.
Oh yeah, Paul, where would you like folks to get your book? Do you have a preference?
You know what? I used to have a website and mail them individually, but now it's just Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and all the normal spots. The funny thing is I signed every book that I ship myself, and I sold 7,000 myself, but everybody goes to Amazon. I put my phone number in, and people would call me after they read it. So it was real powerful, some of the relationships that I built, and the discussions about music and the understanding that music is a business and understanding the business side, that everybody always sees the very mountaintop, and they don't understand anything about the business side. And that's why I fell in love with you guys, because you were out of the box. You guys were different and have learned how to survive maybe nobody has a Ferrari or a Bentley yet, but you know, it's obvious that you impact audiences, and that's what life is about. Shit, like I don't think about any of the. I've done some crazy shit in my life. Like, who gives Stevie Wonder condoms? Who gives Stevie Wonder condoms in Cameroon at 2:30 in the morning? Magnum condoms, like that is just crazy.
You gotta at least wait till 2:45.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Who does?
I feel confident saying that's an exclusive. I don't remember that being in the book.
No, that's not in the book. See,
I do
cut
remember
out
that
80
story.
pages.
Hey.
I cut out 80 pages of all the weird sex, drug shit, because there was plenty of that. Like the funny thing, like Wendy Williams is my girl,
right here.
And there was this part in the book that I edited out that'll be in the next one, where me and Wendy, I got She's Gotta Have It when Spike Lee, it was out on VHS. And back, you know, I was in DC and Wendy was at an AM. She was at WOL and I was at KYS. Mm-hmm. And I was going to bring the movie over with a little package of blow and a bottle of Corbel champagne. And I pull up at her apartment and I see this big black motherfucker sweating coming out, and they turn around and it's Doug Williams, the quarterback of the Redskins. And I'm like, yo, Doug, damn, man, she ain't even fucking. And I go in and say to Wendy, I'm like, damn, could you give it a day? Not even fucking 10 minutes? And we laughed about that shit. And that's when I was through with Wendy. But anyway, sorry.
No. No apologies, man. No apologies. Yo, maybe we should get out those 80 pages.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a look on our son's face, and I'm just like, look, as soon as you get back to Philly, you got your copy of this book.
I can't wait to read this, Joe.
And I did. I found the book. You can order from Powell's Bookstore, which is a great place to order it from. And the link for that is getting put in the chat.
Nice.
So,
thank you, Reg. I got mine on Kindle.
Thank you, Reg.
I read mine. I admit I read it on my little e-reader. By that I mean my computer screen. That was
yeah, can I just say one thing about books? Here's another book story. So I put out Blackout. It's like my shit. Like I wanted the book to read like a movie. And I had a book deal with HarperCollins where I got a 6-digit advance, handed in a great book, and they killed it because it told too much truth. So I had to hold on to the book for 7 years before I could put it out myself. So Joy Reid, who wrote on the back of the book, when I asked her, she said, when your book comes out, I'll put you on my show on MSNBC. So I'm like, yeah, I'm selling the book myself. Blackoutthebook.com. I'm going to make $12 a book. How many books you think I'm going to sell? You know, the average. So anyway, when I went on the show, they wouldn't let you put on the Chiron, you know, where to buy the book, blackoutthebook.com. And the last 15 seconds of the interview, I go, oh, Joy, and you can buy the book at blackoutthebook.com. So I was the last segment, right? So when the interview ends, I had a Shopify app. And the Shopify app goes cha-ching when you get a sale. So I'm talking to Joy when I turn my iPhone on. It's cha-chinging for fucking 18 minutes. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And I'm like, anyway, it was only 727 books. But little to my surprise, Amazon sold 7,800 books at the same time. My shit went like #1, but here's the lesson. Amazon pays you 4 months later, and they only give you 30% of retail. So I was like, damn, I talk all this shit and I got pimped in a book deal.
Yeah, that's the Amazon hustle, bro.
Yeah, 4 months later, you know, and I was planning on that money. But anyway, I had to share that.
It's an interesting. I feel like this is one of those trade-off questions of numbers versus.
Chapter 6 all over again.
What was that, Dolio?
In my head, I was thinking that's chapter 6 already, all over again.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and you know, and this question, right, of the trade-off of a lot of people for potentially a much lower share of what's coming in from that, you know, that exposure. That
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
you have that huge
actually-
platform of Amazon.
We're dealing with that with this thing and this stuff that we're doing.
Well,
We're
and
like
we do it in
contemplating.
general. You know, Pharaoh, like we just all the time we're looking at, you know, we're on Spotify, for instance.
Exactly.
We get paid for the music on Spotify. You know, a million people stream it and we get like $1. Whereas with our Barnstormers, we have like a direct funding, you know, where people subscribe and support us directly. And there maybe there's only like not that many people, you know, certainly not millions of people, but all that money goes to us. So, you know, yeah, we're on both ends of that every day.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it's amazing to me how we have all been reprogrammed to chase the stream, like to chase the smallest shit ever. 0.0006 center stream. Like I sold 100,000 Lettucey albums when I managed her in 1999 out of a trunk of my car. And that was direct income. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But like, we're so dumbed down now, we're only chasing the stream. And like I always say, real fans spend money. Real fans spend money. And if you're not trying to make money with them, like, you know, and no, I don't say you have to be a pimp and sell everything, but you can't just fall in for this system. It's like people that support United Masters, and they all think that they're free because they signed to United Masters. And if you read the fine print, it's bullshit. It holds you for 10 to 12 months. Everybody there, they have first right of refusal. But then again, if Steve Stout's running the business and he was the same motherfucker ripping people off for 15 years, now he's created this company where he's going to help everybody be free. You got to be able to sniff out the bullshit in this business. And there's a lot of bullshit dressed up. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And the shit really looks good. And you go, wow, he's got on a cool suit and he's at the Lakers game. I'm going to fucking believe him. And everybody knows him. But then you get 1 million streams and somebody calls you, you try to leave and you can't. There's dozens of stories that I know from United Masters, but it's number one.
Now, for folks that don't know, could you tell us about United?
Well, United Masters, you know, everything in the music game is, you know, you can do things independently, and most people can't. And then there's companies that promote a way to do it, and they tell you you're free for a small fee, but you're not. And United Masters is one. DistroKid lets people go, but you know, there's different rules of the game. All that shit is a consultation, no, or a free seminar. But really, I mean, it's sort of scary. You know, the new game, more money is made in this business on losers than winners. Think about that. iTunes made more money from losers than songs that sold. So that shows you how saturated this game is and what the real profit is. You know, it's that subscription fee, that membership for a lot of these companies. So for you, and that's why I like you guys. You guys are doing the work every week. Like, it's not like 4 members are missing. I couldn't see Sly Stone at his own concert because he didn't show up. You know, y'all are going to show up every time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Family Stone.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to my first Sly Stone concert and he didn't show. I'm like, damn.
Was he all right? You know, I know Sly had some issues. Was he cool or? Like,
no, but that's when people could blow off shows and be that big enough. You know, people try that now, they get shot or sued.
And George Jones had a reputation for a while that gave him the nickname No Show Jones.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ow.
well.
That's because he was drunk as shit.
Yeah, I remember when I was in college, that was the problem that was going on with Wu-Tang, is that if you had a Wu-Tang concert happening on your campus or whatever, a lot of times cats would just be like, well, don't even go, because they wouldn't even, sometimes they wouldn't show up a year, or like I say a year later, like a couple hours later.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah,
I
but
thought that was
Lauryn
gonna
Hill
happen.
was like that too. She was famous for being
notorious for that.
Yeah,
I thought that was gonna happen in Penn State when the Wu-Tang showed up and the whole clan showed up. Like everybody showed up. It was amazing.
I mean, it is Penn State though.
Yeah, sure. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard that about Lauren too. Went to Rock the Bells one year, and it was killer. The whole joint was dope. And Lauren, I think, was headlining. And I think one of the DJs had to come back out between breaks, and then Nas was on, and then she came out real quick, did If I Ruled the World, and then dipped and disappeared for like an hour, and then finally came back and closed it out. It was ridiculous. I was like, what are these people doing in between their sets? Like, how does this even work? Like, how big do you have to get that you can just blow off shows?
There's a kitchen in the green room. She was back there at work. She was cooking a turkey. You know, you gotta keep. You know, she's back.
You gotta watch your turkey. You're right.
And
with Sly Stone, like he had a really bad crack problem for a while. Was that still happening when you went to go see him?
Yo, man. I talk about it in the book some, but look, man, I got to DC in 1982.
Whoa.
Like that's when DC was really popping. Chocolate City was, and then Angel Dust came out and the crack game hit. And everybody was getting high. Like I talk about on C-SPAN, one day I go to the cocaine man's house, Rico, and I open you go up the elevator and all the doors open and it's all his family lived on the floor, and you get to his apartment and I open the door and there I see Jim Vance. He was the anchor of Channel 4 forever.
Yep.
I see Jim Vance. I see John F. Kennedy Jr. and fucking Marion Barry on the couch.
Barry.
And I'm like, oh shit. This time that I give this shit up. And they were all looking all stupid, like the cocaine, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I said, Jim Vance, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Marion Barry. I'm like,
yeah, man. You can say that about JFK and Marion Barry that's known, but man, Jim Vance, that hits me because I'm
Jim Vance.
I'm from here, so
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm home.
Hey, let me just tell you one quick Jim Vance story. So when I got there, I worked 10 to 2 in the morning, and Vance, I was on the NBC building on Nebraska Avenue. So, Willis Scott, Brian Gumbel, everybody, George Michael, all the great would be in the little circle. So, I talked to Vance a couple of times. One night I come out at 2:00, like my third week. It's fucking Vance in a Porsche. And he says, get in. It's 2:10 in the morning. I'm like, come on. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean, get in? Yo, he took me to his place in Virginia. We didn't get back until 9 in the morning. And it was just like that. He said, get in. It was like one of the coolest nights of my life, but it was just, some crazy shit. Yeah. But that was all cocaine sponsored.
Kids, just say no. Just say no.
Yeah, just say no. I have to.
Oh god, yo, that sounds like the best joke ever. Oh god, Jim Vance, JFK Jr. and Marion Barry was sitting at Rico the cocaine man spot. Dot.
Hey, And they just had that stupid look on their face. I will like remember that shit forever.
I'm terrified of cocaine. I feel like I would both love it and also it would kill me.
You know, I feel like when I was living in DC, I wasn't there in the 80s, but like the vestiges of that scene and the folks that made it out were still around, and it's just I thought that was a lot of cocaine.
No,
Nah, man. Back in the day, though, it was just different.
Yes,
It was before pre-crack. It was just different. It was more like a vanity tool, you know. And I went to parties. Like the biggest party I ever went to was the Diana Ross Muscles party at the Vista Hotel in DC.
Oh,
when Muscles went #1, she had a party. RCA Records rented the top suites. That's the same place Marion Barry got. They put in hot tubs and all this shit, but it was a toga party. So when you got to the door, you had to take off your clothes and put on a fucking toga. And I'm like, what the hell? And, you know, they had trays of cocaine, weed, drinks, and the slutty women, all the different rooms, and yeah, those Muscles. And they played Diana Ross all night long. You know, I was tired of that motherfucker.
Hey, Wrench, can you make me a new background that says Rico the Cocaine Man? It's about to be my new rap name.
We can do that.
That's hilarious, bro.
Oh man.
Now that I know what I know about Jim Vance, I want to make my rap name Jim Vance.
I know.
It kind of makes me feel some kind of way because I got my cousin Rico back home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I had the experience of growing up in Florida during the cocaine 80s when it was insane. That was enough for me to like not want to have anything to do with it because of how much bloodshed that was happening in Florida.
Yeah.
It's like my hometown was right on I-10, where basically it was the cocaine corridor. That's where all of it was coming in.
Oh yeah, damn.
So it's craziness, but like the stuff that was going on in your book that tripped me out, like I can't even really pick a specific point where it was tripping me out because I was getting tripped out every page basically. But like every part of it was just bonkers. Like from starting all the way from your experiences in Boston, moving on into DC, then going over to New York. It's like each portion of it was crazy. Like I used to buy my records at Skippy White's.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, because I went to school in Cambridge, and then
where at?
MIT.
Oh, okay.
And so
that's not school in Cambridge. That's MIT, motherfucker. That's not Cambridge Rings in Latin High School.
Nah.
Yeah,
but I used to co-host with one of my homies who used to co-host a show called that on WMBR on the Cambridge side of the river.
Yeah, yeah.
So we used to go get our records at Skippy Rice, or there's a couple other record stores, but Skippy Rice was the one that always had like the deep cuts. Like he had more vinyl than anybody.
Yeah.
As you know, none of it was organized.
Yeah.
You had to really seriously dig through those crates.
Yeah, but that's when there was something to find.
Right.
You know, it's funny. In Cambridge, I worked at a station, WCAS, and I found a record. There was this store that came up against Skippy White's, and I saw this title. It was Luther, and it was Luther Vandross before he was with Change.
Right.
And there was a record on there called The Second Time Around. That's in the book.
Wait, Second Time Around?
Yeah, The Second Time Around by Luther. The album's called Luther on Cotillion Records. So I started playing it in Boston, and then I got the job in DC at the top station and started playing it there. Get a call from CBS. Luther, years later, decides to cover that song because it got so popular on the Quiet Storm in DC. and I got to meet him, and he said, "You're the brother who made me cover my own song." That's the only time he did it. I didn't make a fucking cent, but it's a good story tonight.
I understand the label was starting to sweat the station because he was on a different label, so they didn't actually have that record. So they wanted to buy the stuff that he had in his current catalog, and they were like, "Why is he playing this record? He's got this and that." And they were like, "No, this is what the listeners want."
Yeah.
The thing that really cool is that you in it for the love of the music. So you're playing what people want to hear because you're pushing the vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of having to succumb to, okay, the what the PD wants you to play just because that's what the labels want to push.
But you know how fucked up the game is now? Everybody talks analytics, like numbers, like streams. And that shit is so fake. Like the number one thing I challenge everybody that gives me numbers is how come everybody's not number one? You know, if you guys have all the same fucking research and you can tell what a hit is by this, that shit's bullshit. There's a feeling to all of this. And of course there's certain numbers, but I can dumb you down. I can test the wrong hook or not even test something to get into the rotation. So that's why music's dead. Like, you used to do it for the love of the game. Like, I want to do it for listeners. I wasn't doing it for money. And now it's just all about pay for play. Before, you got paid for breaking something, you know, like being the first. And now everybody's the cautious. And it's been like that for a while. It's not like this shit is new. And that's why music's stagnant. Like musicians, like how many motherfuckers know musicians now? They know rappers. They don't know bands because nobody, you know, who goes to those shows normally? You know, it's always a dark club with no light and a motherfucker with a beatbox, and you know, that's not a show, you know. And you guys put on a show.
How do you fix that? How do you fix it, Paul? Like, I forgive me if this is a part of your book that I haven't read yet, but I mean, how do you fix all this stuff?
And no pun intended, somebody's just got to have balls. Like, somebody just has to do it. Like, most people are sheep. I don't have enough money. I bought a nonprofit in Orlando. We go 40 miles, you know. Can I eat? Yeah. But if somebody gave me something that I control to impact people, you can change listening habits because music is sonic. It's to your heart and soul. And there's a difference between a hit and a song. Like, you guys get the difference when, you know, like everything I still close my eyes to. You know, if I have to get impressed with the visual, and don't get me wrong, I love crazy visuals, but I got to get impressed with the song first. Like, I'm not going to be faked out by looking at the lighting and the setting and all that shit. Like, there's something when you close your eyes and feel. And then there's that song that you can play 30 times in a row instead of the song that you play 1.5 and go, yeah, that's some good shit. And you never go back to it, you know? So, and the whole game is judging and making the right moves. This is about, life is nothing but time management, you know? And the time that you waste on the bullshit that we do. Like, I spend too much time on what I call blue sky projects. Like, you spend so much time working on shit with people and it just never turns out. Like, I didn't know when to turn off the button, but I was always a part of one of the biggest demos. And, you know, back in 96, I booked this AT&T spot. I said 6 words, got $65,000 in like 30 days. I said, AT&T, it's all within your reach.
Yeah.
And I was like,
voice.
yo, I was like, the voiceover game's gonna be the shit. And then I went out on 30 auditions more and then booked shit. And I was like, damn, I thought because it happened the first week, and then I booked some HBO, and then I found out that I'm a promo guy. I'm not going to get the McDonald's Happy Meal, but I will get tonight on WKYC Cleveland. I get all that newsy type shit, or the movie, or the trailer. And the guy that told me to get into it was Adolph Caesar. I don't know if you know him from Soldier Story or The Color Purple. He was the Tsar.
Yeah.
Adolf.
Yeah,
That's a crazy name.
Guy who said, CJ, you little geeky nigga. But he did the voice for ABC, The Wide World of Sports. Just look up Adolph Caesar voiceover. But he was a frustrated actor, but made over $500,000 a year doing Honda motocross. He just had and he was an actor. But anyway, he was like my guy who said get into it, but I couldn't take rejection. I can't go 1 for 30. I know our son does in basketball, but that shit ain't for me. I'm gonna hit my shot.
I want to run
Wait,
this.
Dolio?
No,
go ahead.
I'll let Farrell go.
I want to run this theory by you. To also speaking to Dan's point a little bit. Hanging out in DC and seeing, I don't do a lot of cocaine, but I've seen a lot of that stuff around. You play in these bars and it's going to show up. And what I notice is a lot of these people talking analytics, a lot of these tech folks, also with, doctors for some reason, do a lot of cocaine. And do you think the wrong people are doing cocaine now?
I don't know about new people doing cocaine. I've been out the cocaine market for a long time. I don't
really know.
I'm in the weed market. That's my only market. Weed is legal here. Guns are legal. Everything's fucking legal in Florida, but I don't know about this shit anymore. I got a son. My son works at Quality Control Records and merchandising. So he's into all that gangster shit. They roll around, they don't stop at lights. Because you can get shot. Yeah. What was that?
No, he's with Migos and all that.
Yeah. So he keeps me in, and he's getting tired of it because he's 40 years old now, and he walks around with 2 guns, and I'm like, really? Is it really worth that much? That you're breaking up fights and thinking about shooting back on. And don't get me wrong, I carry my gun every day, but I'm not out seeing people get beat up and shit going to work. Yeah. That's not a good feeling.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Yeah, I got tired of that in my 20s. I definitely couldn't imagine doing it now.
Yeah, so.
But it's funny because there was a lot of things, a lot of stuff that hit with me when reading your book, especially when you got to the part with like Adolf, when I was seeing the part about Adolf Caesar in there and how he was putting you up on game as far as the voiceover stuff. It's funny because we actually mentioned Adolf Caesar in one of our songs.
That's right.
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what was it a reference about?
It was actually it was a Color Purple reference.
Oh, okay.
I think I said Adolf Caesar saying sweep the caboose.
Oh,
couldn't even hang with the news. Adolf Caesar yelling sweep the caboose.
Yeah, old Mister, quick strap to come get you. that was one line. But darn it, I forget. I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about the book, the part about Adolf.
No, but actually I was coming back to the whole Luther stuff. Is that I was happy that you mentioned some of the songs, the songs that you mentioned on there was stuff that don't necessarily get played all the time. Which actually one of the songs you mentioned was one of my favorite songs, but She's a Super Lady.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's actually one of them. That's actually next to Never Too Much. That's probably my favorite song off that particular album.
Yeah.
Because that bass line is one that just bruh. It's like that. I have 4 copies of that record because the first couple copies I had, I didn't burn through that first minute of it.
Yeah.
I keep running it back because I'm one of those old school DJs where I'll throw both doubles on in there and I'll just keep running it back, and I'll make that section last for like 5 minutes before I even.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. Well, those are some good times, man. And there's good times now too, but you just got to fight for them differently.
Yeah.
And the music game has changed into a visual game almost, but the good thing is there's still enough people that get the music. And I think the music is coming back in a large way. We got fooled for a while. Yeah. And now people are listening to words again. At least that's what I feel and I see.
I think it's going in cycles. It goes in cycles. People get tired of the fluff, and then they start getting more into the substance again. It's like when during the '80s when people got really big into hair bands, and it was like crazy, and then
hair bands.
Then they started, getting more into soul. But what I'm seeing now is more of a shift towards live music again, because people, they get tired of just people got fooled by the whole, program of it all. People going up and just basically singing or lip syncing to a DAT and doing their thing, and I thought it would have died when Milli Vanilli got out.
Yeah.
But then
that made Kevin Liles rich.
Yeah. But
really? Interesting.
Yeah, that was his record.
So I got another question about, since we're talking about kind of the live music versus the stuff that's not live, I guess, and looking at last year, there was no live music. There was no live in-person concert for anybody. And what there was we had some live streaming. We had some new platforms. Like this Twitch stuff, people use this for music, and we can't do that because we're a band and we're in different places. But a lot of people do, and we've done some virtual festivals. And, do you have a thought on that going forward where, obviously live shows are going to come back, but do you think people are going to keep doing the streaming thing? They're going to like it, or it's just going to keep going, or like, where does that go?
I think the streaming thing, looking at some of these options, it's getting so much more powerful, the visual, but you can't take the feel of a live concert away in an iPad. I don't care what you do and how 3D your screen is, but that feeling, and some people will never feel it because they never get the chance to do it. But once you get that, one of my friends I met on Clubhouse, and we've been in tons of conversation, is Deadmau5. And Deadmau5 hated EDM. He sort of fell into it. But the responses that he gets and the craziness and flying all over the world to do, 1 hour sets, to me is amazing. But that's a live performance, even though it's recorded music. In effect, it's that energy that people feel when they're together, and that energy that you feel from your audience when you get off stage. So I don't think you can ever replace it. Do I think it's going to be a slower cream of the crop? Everybody's not going to be out playing different places because a lot of those B-C places are going to be out of work.
Yeah.
And some of the bigger festivals and stuff's going to happen. But, I'm not excited about verses. Like, I've never been like, oh shit, I got to look at my phone to fucking verses. Like, I want to see somebody real, I don't want to see you on a half a screen over half a screen.
That's so well said. I feel like no one's ever going to say, oh shit, I got to look at my phone.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, plus as an artist, it's addictive. That's probably that is the drug. Really, is the show, because the adrenaline rush you get from getting out there and performing.
Yeah, dude, there's nothing like that.
That experience you have with the crowd is there's no matching it. And Art's gonna tell you, like once we get off the stage, half the time we feel like going up there and doing another one.
Yeah, give me another one. All right, cool. Let's do this one now. Yeah.
We
I
might
miss that so
somebody else
much.
show and bum rush their stage, you know.
Yeah.
Which we have done sometimes. So
You know, today I started doing like these residencies that I'm doing with a poet friend of mine, Reggie Cabico, just in the old folks' home, and we played for maybe like 10 people with a couple caretakers in there, and that felt good. It felt really good just to have people responding to the music, and some of those folks, most of them are dealing with dementia, like woke up to the music and woke up to the poetry. And that was honestly, big shows are great. I love what I do with Gangstagrass, but I love those small crowds. I love that intimacy. That's why I do it.
Yeah, it's special, huh?
It is. It is. That's a real connection.
But how about a real paycheck? No, I know.
Yeah. No, they paid me. They paid me. It was good.
Oh yeah, but you know what? As I go on in life, like my biggest wins are with people. Like you think that you'll remember like, you know, the biggest paychecks. I don't remember any of the biggest paychecks. I remember some of the best experiences, but you know, I was making $104,000 in 1982 at 24 or something like that. Yeah, at 24, 23. But, you know, that seemed like a lot of fucking money then. And it was.
Yeah, it was.
But I just thought of that because I made myself think about, you know, but back then it seemed important, but it's not important at all now. And not important for me to pursue stress. Like, stress kills people. I've had so many good friends die, you know, who were great performers. My best friend in the business for a long time was George Howard, a sax player out of Philly. He had 10 records, toured the world, was the baddest guy on the planet on soprano sax. He hated Kenny G. He used to talk about Kenny Gorlick because he could play Kenny backwards, and we went out with Kenny, and he died of stress, you know, stressing himself out and not going to the doctor. So we got to find a way to heal too. Like this journey in this game is also mental. Like how do you, well, it's life too. How do you deal with bumps and bruises? Like how quick do you bounce back? But the book Blackout, the title means a temporary loss of consciousness. That's the key. Like we lose consciousness sometimes and we get stuck in this spot. And that's my life, dealing with getting stuck in certain spots. But I've been lucky enough to move around enough. And while you move around, you lose a lot of shit. But you get to be in New York and DC and Atlanta and Miami and Boston. So it's okay.
Right. I mean, because
now you, go ahead.
Every time you seem to have, you've managed to take each one of those setbacks and turn them into a setup. Because, you know, just from what I've gotten so far, I mean, I'm about 3/4 of the way through the book so far, but from what I've seen is like each time those setbacks happen, you know, you've learned, you've managed to take the lesson that you learned from that and build off of that.
Yeah, but the problem is that I took the lesson too fucking hard. You know, sometimes I should have just skipped and moved on, but I lived with the fucking pain. Like, matter of fact, on Clubhouse, the first time I was on Clubhouse, I was in a big room and they were talking music industry stories. And it was with Tyrese and, you know, there was probably 600-700 people in the room. And my man from All Hip Hop brought me to the stage and I was going to be next. And then Tyrese says, "Oh shit, Stephen Hill's here from BET." Well, Stephen fired me fucking 20 years before. Like really cold. Like I was there 11 years And when he came in and I knew him, he was at my old station in Boston. He was from DC. He was real cold, never really talked. And then he told me 2 months before I was fired that I'd be leaving on September 1st or some shit. And he dodged me for 2 months in the building. So he comes on in the room before me. Right before me. And then they passed the mic to me. And Chuck Creekmore from All Hip Hop's sort of like worried, like, Paul, let's be cool now. And I said, nah, man. It's funny, we telling stories. The last time I saw Stephen Hill was when I got fired at BET. But I paused and said, but Stephen, if I saw you now, I'd give you a fucking hug. And I used to be mad as shit about you. So he was all cool. And he was really nice. He goes, man, Paul, thank you for that. I never told you this. And this is where the story gets good. He says, you were my favorite DJ when you were on WKYS. The first 6 years of my career, I called myself Captain Stephen Hill when I was at WILD in Boston and I met you. And I said, Stephen, really? And I said, why didn't you ever tell me that before? And then it fucking clicked in my head. All that pain I was carrying, it was his fucking problem. It wasn't my problem. Instead of coming to me like, if Frankie Crocker, if I became his boss, I'd look out for him because he was one of my icons. But instead, he was intimidated and he didn't talk to me and this got rid of me. But since he was humbled by being out of work a couple of years, he could tell the story. So we don't know the pain that other people hold inside them. And it's all because of other shit. So I learned to let that go, but 15 years ago, I would have fucked that motherfucker up. It would have been the Source Awards, I studied fucking Bondo for 14 years. Put his ass in a headlock. But
it would have been the Source Awards.
Yeah. But I control myself.
Let me ask you a question, Paul. We've gone to this thing a few times. We do it every year, called Folk Alliance. It's this event where all these different folk from all over the world to get together. They essentially take over a hotel and do showcases and panels and all sorts of stuff like that.
It's just like the Source Awards.
It's not even
I think I know where Arson's going with this.
And I haven't made it to AC3. I've heard AC3 is a good time, but do you think it's possible on any level, or would it ever be possible for hip hop to do something like that? Like to have a bunch of different artists and industry folks in the same, in a hotel for a weekend and just build.
Oh, motherfucker, you got jokes, man.
I want it to happen, man. I want us to be able to make that happen.
In Beirut, maybe. Shit, everywhere else, some motherfuckers would kill each other the same night.
That breaks my heart.
Unless you're just talking about a certain type of hip hop groups, like maybe hip hop groups under 12 with their families or some shit. But I wouldn't insure that motherfucker. I'll tell you that.
And
That's a great idea, though.
Why is that? Because we talked about this. And that's usually our son Dolio's, their response is like, I don't think that nothing like this exists, and I don't think it could. But why is that?
Well, because motherfuckers think they have to fight each other to be territorial. Like, I don't get it. Like, there's more anger in between men than there's women, but hip hop's real ugly right now. And it's been that way for a couple of years, and hopefully it'll change. But I don't feel safe around motherfuckers that always want to shoot. Like, nobody wants to talk. They want to shoot first. And that's crazy in itself. And I carry a gun every day for the last 37 years. I've never shot anybody. I've been tempted to. But like, who wants to kill somebody? But they do. And it's part of the game. And If you guys want to be on a mural someday and shit, Gangstagrass at a conference.
Well, I mean, do you think then that hip hop's more being held back by the like masculinity that's kind of running wild there, or?
Yeah, but that's been the culture for the past 20 years, you know, and not all of the culture. We're just talking about percentages here.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of great acts and people that I would go see for people in a hotel. But I'd have to know who that. It's not going to be fucking Little Baby, Quavo, and Gucci Man, motherfucker. You know, I might go see the Roots and you guys and somebody else, but nah, not in my hotel. Like, I remember going to Jack the Rapper. Jack the Rapper was the last conference I went to in Nashville. And that was I was at BLS and BET then, yeah. That was like around 2000. And that shit was like the worst conference ever. And it was all fucking hip hop. Like, motherfuckers got blunts in the fucking lobby. And what's the big hotel there? With all the rooms, in Nashville. It's the biggest hotel in the world. Don't let me fucking go out like this. Somebody pick up my bag.
Ritz-Carlton.
It was the one we stayed at for Americana Fest.
What was the
Christ.
Did you say it, Sleaze?
I don't know. I'm not. I was throwing one out.
I know it's one.
Is it a Grand Hyatt?
You remember the name of what it is?
Grand.
It's like
the
huge.
Grand
It's
something.
like blocks
That's
long.
good.
It's
That's
shaped
good.
like a freaking guitar. From above.
Hermitage?
Yeah, from above to see the guitar. We went up to the
Grand Ole
penthouse.
Opry?
I can't remember it.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah. But anyway, well, I had to fuck up somewhere. I'll be 64 in September, but I was on a fucking roll until I couldn't remember that shit, and it's pissing me off. But go ahead.
All right, so if we do this, we're gonna have to confiscate weapons. You're saying, first off.
Well, but it all depends. Who would you guys try to get, and that, you know, like,
I mean,
what?
I want everybody there, dude. I want.
You know what we
not everybody.
We'd have to do what Focal Lines did, and we'd have to have it. We'd have to, well, at least when we first got introduced to Focal Lines, we'd have to have it in like Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't bring your
but
guns.
not Montreal. But not Montreal though.
No, why?
With Focal Alliance, it's a membership thing. Like, you have to join.
Right. So you have to join. So you'd have to join this Hip Hop Alliance, and then do the conference. But we do it in Canada, so you have to check your weapons at the border.
Right.
Oh,
okay.
dope. Yeah,
Okay.
that is a good idea.
But everybody would be cool about having to check your weapons at the border because weed is legal in Canada.
Right. Okay.
Like,
Yo, damn, that is dope. Like, I would go to Toronto.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere else beside that.
Yeah.
Hey,
Toronto's
Toronto's a great choice.
I really don't know what Danjo has against Montreal, because I like Montreal.
I like Montreal too.
it's good, but I feel like if you're trying to, I don't know, just Quebecois people, I don't know. I mean, I feel like they would fight you.
I know our son Sleeves and I all had very good times in Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal was dope.
I would say that if we wanted to, we could come up with a couple dozen particular hip hop acts that we know would be cool for that kind of thing. But it's a particular niche, right? The kind of groups that if we wanted to bring on Demeanor and Randall Wyatt and
Smith and Wesson.
Smith and Wesson, like people that we've crossed paths with that are like very cool. There's definitely a good chunk of them out there, but it wouldn't be like across the board in the industry.
Right. I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth. I think it would be more. I feel like the hyper masculine, like violent image of hip hop is being driven by a minority of hip hoppers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like whatever gets pushed on the air is the minority of hip hoppers. You know, every time you
Why do you say the minority?
Well, because
it's the majority.
I say it's the minority because every time you turn on the radio, you hear a bunch of dudes who are balling out of control. When we know the vast majority of cats who are out there doing doing this as a profession are not balling.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Hey, can we put in the chat, please, if somebody can name the hotel that I was talking about
Is
in
it-
Nashville?
was it-
I'll
is it
send
the
them a free
Gaylord?
book.
Well, yeah,
Is it the Gaylord Opry? Gaylord Opry?
Yeah, I think so. It's like green and white or some shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's not the one we stayed at then.
No,
yeah,
no,
the
it's definitely
Gaylord.
not.
Because the Gaylord's
Gaylord
no, it's
Opryland.
not.
No?
Oh,
There's
whoa.
also Union Station Hotel and the Hermitage Hotel.
It's really fucking big, man.
I know.
It's like in the news.
No, I'm thinking it's the one. I'm thinking it's probably the one we stayed at for Americana Fest because it was freaking huge and it was a huge. It was because it had the showcases and it was all the other stuff.
Was it the Omni?
Yeah, the Omni.
No, it's not a basic name.
All right. Well, the Gaylord
Yeah,
Opry
the Gaylord's
Resort
the best I got.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
That one has almost 3,000 rooms.
Yeah, that's it.
That one is huge.
And it's all on one floor, right? You see a picture of it?
Yeah, it's not a high rise. It's all pretty.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah, that's it. That's got to be it.
All the ones on one floor, that's definitely not the one we stayed at.
No.
No, we didn't stay at that. I'm looking at pictures. We didn't stay at that.
The Omni that we stayed at has 800 rooms. Still pretty big, but it's not like
Yeah, I think it was enormous.
Yeah. Thought I heard a phone ringing.
Yeah, me too.
I was calling my friend in Nashville and
Oh. I'm really bad with like that shit. Like I like to get shit right. Right.
Yeah.
And as soon as we get off this, I'm gonna be like I'm Googling and shit and don't have on my glasses so I can't see it all and I'm stretching the screen and shit. But I can see the hotel because there was a Jack the Rapper conference there. And it was so crowded and so fucked up inside, I couldn't find my room. I got my keys from the desk and they had so many people there. They had nowhere, and they had no signs on the fucking hallways or nothing. And it was all in different wings. So a friend of mine, Danielle Ricks and Montez Miller, I saw them downstairs eating, and she said I could sleep with her in the other bed. And I did, and I left the next morning. I was like, I went back to BET. I was like, I'm not doing this dumb shit. But that was a hip hop conference. So y'all gonna do that and give out like CDs in the lobby and shit?
The once in the lobby thing is possible.
We're gonna hand people streams.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like you just should hand them like a penny. That's like 7 albums. It's a penny. Download my shit. Because y'all have been on Mars and shit. How was Mars?
It was dope. It was
Just a
nice.
bit.
Underrated.
It was really red.
Yeah, we went on Mars and Wrench put his album in Wrench. Can you say what you licensed recently, or is that under
Is it
wraps?
still?
Well, I'm not going to name anything, but there's a song I did that is going to be released as a lollipop that uses bone conduction when you bite on it to play the song in your head.
There you go.
What?
Yo, that's the wildest thing ever, dude.
Yeah.
I so want one of those
Bullshit
lollipops.
was when the question was, "Can you mention?" and I saw Sleeve's face was like, "Don't." She was like real fucking managerial and shit. Like
She will cut you.
There have been so many of those tonight. It's like they're testing me.
No, I don't. I say it often, but I'll say it again. I am so happy to have Sleeves as a manager.
Yeah, when your connection dropped, we were just like, we're like a ship without a rudder and sails and like a ship.
I had to restart my computer earlier because I have 2,800 tabs open. And I know that sounds like, oh, she's kidding. I'm not kidding.
Nope.
You know how much memory that's eating up?
All of it. That's why I had to restart my computer. Literally all of it. It just ceased to function. Yes. Yeah.
I've never, I mean, I haven't been in the music game as long as these cats, but I've never seen a manager work so damn hard. We are so damn lucky to have Sleeves.
You
And I think the
guys.
problem sometimes in the rap game and why people shoot each other is because managers be messing up, and we don't have that.
Managers be shooting each other.
You understand? There was a period of time where I tried. People know. Well, the people in the group know that I tried to quit rapping. I tried to quit rapping many times, and during one of those periods of time when I had ceased I ceased being a rapper. I was a manager of rappers, and that is stressful enough because one, you have to deal with being in a room with a bunch of cats where everybody's packing, and then you just be like, I want to shoot everybody in here. You need to be in the booth right now. Or I put up all this money, and then there was a part where I was running. There was part when I was running a label, and I put up all this money, and you end up losing a bunch of money because the artists that you're managing have basically started fighting with the people at the venue.
Oh.
Shut the entire event down because they started a big riot up in the club tonight.
Knock wood. So far, Gangstagrass has never done that.
So maybe segueing off of that, Paul, do you have any advice for anybody who might be managing a music act? Just anyone, hypothetically. I'm not saying someone specific, but
if you don't have a long game, you don't have a game.
True.
Like if you don't have a 3-year plan, you're fooling yourself.
3 years.
And I don't care if you got
30
Teddy
year.
Pendergrass in a suit. Like it takes time, and everybody's in a hurry. And when life got real clear, I started to say, well, if this started here, what's next? Like, what's over this corner and that corner? And until that shit happens, life is real slow. You'll have some highs and some lows. But until you start understanding what's around the corner to be first, like there's this new app. It's called Needle, Nedl.
Oh, yeah, I downloaded that because you suggested it. Tell us more.
It's crazy because I met the CEO. He raised like 1.6 million. It's like Clubhouse, but better. It has a better search engine. It's on the ground floor, though. It's like brand new, but it transcribes your text as you're talking so you can see the text. The search engine is, it has all the Google AI and stuff. So I'm going to get involved in this company financially and everything else because I've been around. I know how to pick winners. So I get excited when people think of new ways to do things or to be a part of that connection. Like Clubhouse has been great, but it's gotten a lot weaker for me. Like it gets watered down and you got to try something new. So
is it just Apple, John?
No, it's both.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can I ask a follow-up question off that, because I like what you're saying about long game. But you did earlier say something that you've done is in the past is you've been really involved with a lot of what you call the blue sky projects, which to me kind of sounds like all long game. So is there a triple balance?
Yeah, but the blue sky game means you really shouldn't have been in it. Because the sweaty motherfucker named James Brown calls you up that has a studio at Channel 32 that needs you to come in 6 Saturdays in a week for a pilot that never does shit. That's not really a chance. That's what I call blue sky. Like, of course, there's business deals and things that don't work out. But when you have time consumption on something and there's really a fat chance it's like, hey, I want to train you to be a pro basketball player. Like, how many free trainers are you going to get that are going to get you? And what's your chances? So, yeah, but that's not planning long game, though.
Gotcha.
Planning long game is after you get married, what's going to happen 4 years from now? Like, how are you going to be ready for your family and to pursue what you're doing and have the man hours or the female hours or the both hours or whatever it is hours to make shit work. Like, I never prepared for the future. And thankfully now I'm kind of prepared. You know, my house is paid for, my car is paid for. But if my roof fucking blows off, I got an issue, you know. But I never thought about tomorrow, you know, 20 years ago. I always knew it was going to get better, but that shit always doesn't get better. Sometimes, and I've seen motherfuckers stall out in this business and spend 16 years on the top of their game and the next 30 at Golden Corral. And there's nothing wrong with Golden Corral, even though I've never ate it. But, you know, it's a hell of a shit to go from Interscope Records as a national to a general manager at Golden Corral, telling industry stories of working at Interscope with the biggest, with Dr. Dre and Snoop. Well, that's how this business dumps you. It'll leave you fucking poor, broke, and stupid. And that's why out of all the fucking money, I think in 2019, the industry made 11.9 billion and artists got 12%. So where did the rest of that money go? That's a lot of fucking money divided up through corporate America. And none of them motherfuckers say they're musicians or artists or songwriters. But that shows who controls the game. Even though you can get a bigger piece of it, we're still small fish. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So they're trying to chop it down. You know, maybe 2020 was 15%. Who knows?
Yeah.
This leads to a great question about payola, which is there's a big chunk of the book that is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
What was happening behind the scenes. I mean, one of the great things about being with Gangstagrass is how ethical and upstanding everybody is. And, you know, but I will say, even in the time that I've been managing, I've gotten people saying, well, you know, have you paid for placements? Like, suggesting that's a really good thing that we ought to be doing. And I personally don't love that. And I'm super curious about your thoughts, not just on payola generally, any stories you have, super welcome, but also on being a band that's not really willing to do that. And is there, you know, what path do you see for that?
Side point, we are a moral band, but that's not why we don't do payola. We don't have any money.
I must admit I've done payola.
What, to get a song on the air somewhere?
I've done pay to play.
Yeah, for an individual song or what?
Or like a concert?
For concerts and whatnot.
Oh yeah, but that's called radio. And there's a difference too, man. Look, this world is made out of money.
Yeah.
And years ago, wow, it must have been about 8-9 years ago, I met with Lecrae and the guy that ran Reach Records.
And that's a Christian artist.
Yeah. So Lecrae wanted to go pop, you know, even though he was killing Christian and, you know, had a platinum record, they didn't want to pay for any of it. You know, and they flew me up to Newark to Jazz Fest, met with them, I met with the boss. And I'm like, no way you're going on Billboard by being a nice Christian guy. It's going to cost money. Oh, we're never going to fucking take money. Well, he signed to Columbia years later, and Columbia's paying all their money. And he got his national, you know, and maybe he didn't want to do it, but he eventually did it. And it all depends how people want to roll. But, you know, programmers' hands are like cups. If you see any major PDs, Doc Winter and all them, their hands are cups. They're metal cups. They need fucking money. You got to put money in it, okay? And that's just the way the game goes. I opened a book telling a story about Karen Klein when I got back to BET to program it. You know, I met with everybody on the phone and stuff. And that Saturday at Hotel George, I get a fucking FedEx. And it says Karen Klein, Atlanta, Georgia. And all it had was 3 white envelopes in it, filled with $100 bills. And I'm opening this shit in the room like, what the fuck? And it didn't have a name on it. So that Monday I get to work and I get a call from the big indie man. Hey, do you get that package at the hotel? And I was like, turning around like, I wonder if anybody hears this shit. And I said, yo, man, don't be sending me no shit like this. He was like, man, I want you to come to a party in Atlanta on Thursday. We'll fly you in and we'll talk about it. And he picked me up and gave me the rules of the street. And, you know, he did some time in prison. And this was a big motherfucker. Like I talk about him in the book. And it's funny when the book came out, he found out he's like one of the only people I never met, put his name in. And when he called, I said, motherfucker, that day you told me never put your name in shit. You went to jail for motherfuckers and I wasn't putting your fucking name in. But you are 6'6", 290, motherfucker. You know, and we laughed about it. But yeah, pay for play is for real. And it's happened to Spotify and streaming services. Nothing's for free. People always think, you know, the biggest bullshit word in this world to me is viral. Like people that say they know how to make you go viral, they don't. You know, but if you're on a certain playlist, you can guarantee yourself 2, 3, 4 million a month. Yeah. And that's what people want, real streams. So would you pay to be on a curated list? Mm-hmm. Somebody will, you know. Like I just got a client in Israel. They want to fucking fly me over there. I'm like ready to go. And I don't want to go nowhere, but the money is like super duper duper duper, you know? Like I can't make $40,000 fucking around on Clubhouse. Like I could go, you know, so I'm tempted, but I still don't go yet. But I sure am thinking about it. Matter of fact, see you guys let know. But, you know, so think about it. So if I'm a programmer in New York at a radio station, and it's $2,500 an ad, and I add 5 records a week, it's fucking 12 grand. That's some good extra money. When's that last time you motherfuckers made an extra 12 grand a week? Never. You know, so that's why they play shitty records. Like, if somebody said, play Bobby Smurda backwards, these motherfuckers would play that shit backwards. It was bad forwards. But for that type of money, they spin that motherfucker backwards. They'd be like, Hot 97 and 5.
I've been reading some similar things about TikTok as well, in terms of the fact that the viral stuff there is actually all curated.
Yeah.
By the people that run the app themselves, deciding whose stuff is.
I hear differently though. Mm-hmm. I got a new good friend that's over there, and I've done a lot of studying about TikTok. TikTok scares me though. Mm-hmm. That's what's wrong with the music industry. Like, when you have to have a good visual to get a music contract, like it doesn't match. Like you're not a fan because you like the video. You're a fan because you're not a fan because you like the music. You like the video. Right. Sometimes people don't know who the artist is with, you know, 20 million streams. So, you know, it's real sickening what's happened to the game. But
right. It was like when you were mentioning in your book, you were like, can any one of us name any member of Rex and Effect?
Yo, I just got my cash app.
There was Rex and there was Effect. Numbers.
Right. Like none of us could name Rex and Effect, like anybody in Rex and Effect other than Teddy Riley, who was the producer. But like we definitely remembered the video.
Mm-hmm. You definitely remember
Yeah.
the video.
You definitely remember that video.
Really remember that. It was seared into my young mind.
I just got my cash app from y'all paying me to play on this interview tonight.
That's
Don't
right.
be
I hope
fooled.
don't spend that 75 cents all in the same place. All right.
Yeah, that's just our money from Spotify, so you can have it.
Nah, that's my little radio station,
It's great.
The dividends pay off, Some of the shows pay Cash App, We right there in Pine Hills.
I need to get a Cash App because people have been doing that forever now.
That's my girl who was just texting me. She was like, I'm listening.
That's
I'm
Word.
like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's good, honey.
Yeah, I've been listening to The Wire out of Pine Hills on the app is it Umoja? Umoja?
Umoja app.
Umoja.
Yeah.
The Umoja app. Umoja app.
And on Friday nights we have all our ghetto shows on. We got Next Level Radio. All the homeboys from Pine Hills are on, and we let the streets take control. We are neighborhood radio. I do Monday through Friday, 10 to 3. And we play all different shit. Like, I play some shit too. But I don't play that much of it. But I play a lot of different stuff and give people. And the station's done well. It's the #1 LPFM in the country out of 800 stations. Yeah.
That's amazing.
We're the only one that trended in top 40 market, So, yeah, I know what the fuck I'm doing. They can't tell me that shit, Like, I win. I can be cocky because I win.
You got a proven record.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they still can fire me, so it doesn't matter.
Wait,
and like I said, I didn't get rich.
Don't you own don't you have the rights to the license to this station? Wouldn't the FCC have to fire you?
Oh yeah, yeah, the FCC. Well, yeah, I mean, the FCC is the only place that can fire me. But if I don't have to go to work, I don't go to work. So it's cool.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit. Actually, I'm a little bit salty about the way they treated you, as far as like after basically building a station in DC.
Oh yeah, but that was Kathy Hughes, man.
Yo, like, the thing is, like, before I read this book, I had like all these
different standards for people.
A whole different picture of what Kathy Hughes was.
Yo, I had the same picture though, because she used to be on 4th and 8th Street, and used to do some real good stuff like protests, and people would come out and burn the Washington Post. But I've seen so many people get selective amnesia. Like when they get that first million, and then they get the fucking next million, then they turn crazy. Like all of a sudden they got the knife out like, yo, my wife says we got to keep Terrence in private school, and that's fucking $38,000. So we got to get rid of your boy Omar. It's like, shit gets real cold. Like, money is a motherfucker. That's why y'all all together. Because if any of y'all were rich, y'all would split up and shit. One time I saw, I was in the Hyatt Regency in DC with Alan Heyman, who was my boy in the OJs. So I asked Eddie, we were all having a lunch, and I said, y'all been together, I think it was 35, 40 years. I said, does it get easier? And Eddie, I'll never forget, he turned around and said, fuck no. Because the longer you're together, the more motherfuckers think they know. And I was like, oh, okay. That's what happens to a super group and shit. And they all smiled because they knew that shit was true.
They were able to smile about it. That's something.
Yeah.
And obviously liked each other enough to be willing to be all together.
Yeah.
And Eddie snorted Peru too. So Eddie and Shaka Khan, Rick James, and the most coke snorting motherfucker of all time, Alexander O'Neill.
Oh,
Alex used to just come in fucking sweating. I'm a freak. I'm a fake. No, yeah, fake. That
Fake.
song.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I saw him in D.C. and that motherfucker was reeking.
Oh damn!
And this pouring, like the sweat and cocaine was real big. You know, James Brown used to sweat before he hit the stage and shit. You know, and it wasn't from warm-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see Dolio come out on the stage all sweaty, it's because he just
He
did
was-
at
he was
least
doing
50 push-ups,
Dolio's
possibly
got a
100
fever.
push-ups immediately before coming out on the stage.
Yeah, that's my routine. Every time before we go on stage, I do at least 50 push-ups. Sometimes it's 100, because sometimes what happens is that they tell us we're about to go on stage, and I'll be like, okay, let me bust these out right quick. And then they'd be like, wait 15 minutes. And I'd be like, damn, now I got to do 50 more. But usually...
Well, one time when I brought Shaka Khan on stage, you know, she was late, and I was bringing her on stage. I said, Shaka Khan, and I was running off stage, and she gives me a fucking bottle of Remy that she was sipping on the side of the stage, and she just hands it to me and spills it on me and shit. I was like, you nasty, Shaka.
I can't believe I didn't know that about Shaka. I really shocked.
Yo, she used to have a cigarette, a Newport, and a fucking shot before every gig. That was part of the rider shit. I've seen some riders now.
Oh, tell us about the riders. We're updating ours, so we'll take suggestions. Newports, got it.
No, let's smoke cigarettes. Let's go.
Yeah, but you got to get some of those things in your rider.
Yeah,
you got to get like condoms, KY jelly, all different shit. So they want to. You got to be politically correct about this shit too. So you got to have the whole spectrum of shit. Y'all got to go. Yo, the idea is to get on the Grammys, and that's the shit I came here for. Like, y'all got a story. Y'all done incredible shit, but now it's time to take the shit to the mainstream.
Bruh, we have a conversation about that we can't talk about on this stream.
Sorry, we keep doing
as long as that's in the conversation, like,
no question.
It's like
it's definitely.
We definitely have to do it off the record because these folks don't need to hear that yet. Yeah, I say yeah.
Yes.
That's for the documentary.
That's for the documentary. That's right.
But yeah, but I feel like we have the tamest rider of anybody.
It's true. We're like, we would like orange juice and dark chocolate and berries. Please.
Yeah, but that's why y'all can be together too.
Yeah, we like we gotta have vegetables, fruit,
coffee, and lots of creamer.
Cheese. We like cheese.
And I'm still always like impressed when they actually have any of that shit, because I'm never expecting it either. I forget that we even have a writer. And I walk into a green room and like, there's a chocolate bar here? Damn, this is awesome.
Yeah,
we're living it up.
Chocolate is like 80. It's like 80%. Like we were on tour in the UK, and the dark chocolate got darker every night of tour. They would give us 74%, 82%.
We got to like 92.
No, there was
94.
It was wild, man.
UK, because the UK they stuck to our rider like big time. They were like, okay, we don't have this sparkling water, but we have this selection of sparkling waters that we can give you. We're like, okay, cool. But then the chocolate is where they really, like Dan said, they stepped the game up. Every spot we went to, it just kept getting darker and darker. In my luggage, when we came back, it was half of my luggage was chocolate.
I feel like when you tell these stories about the cocaine days, and I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean, because we were at these shows in the UK, and the dark chocolate was just so pure, man. It was too much, you know?
Oh,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
What percentage of your tours are overseas?
How much? Like a 5 to 10%.
5-10%.
10%.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good percentage, though. You want to do more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like as an artist, you're thinking small if you're not thinking global.
Yeah.
Because
we were
a planet with 7 billion people. You don't need to be concentrating on 290 million.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so many people just make their living. Like, it's funny, I was on a call with with Helen from the 3 Degrees, and they had a song, "When Will I See You Again," out of Philly.
Mhm.
She's 73 years old, and they had a #1 song, and they've lived over there for something like 45 years, for 6 months out of the year in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And they never got accepted here, even though they had a pop song. But they've just made a living overseas. But you are popular. That's why you got 2,000 windows open and shit.
Amsterdam is a hell of a place. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of money I spent on cheese over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
How many
that's not
years have you
euphemism.
guys been together? Pharaoh?
I've been with these cats for about 2.5 years now. I'm the newest cat.
Yeah, I knew. That's why I wanted to see how new, but
Young boy.
Yeah. I'm fresh. I'm fresh.
And why did he get accepted late?
He got recruited is what happened. He got for many years I was trying to convince Pharaoh that Gangstagrass was an awesome thing. And Pharaoh was a bit of a traditionalist and was a little less persuaded as to the wisdom and value of this kind of collaboration.
It took some teeth pulling. I've known Sleeves for about 10 years, I think.
Actually,
more than that, probably.
It took him seeing us live first.
Yeah, I feel like that was the ultimate persuasion. That was the ultimate persuasion, because it was after that Pharaoh was like, okay, give Wrench my number.
And there was the lyricism too. Like, I was listening to these cats rap, and I was just like, nah, they're rapping about the right stuff, and that's what I want to be involved with. I played in a lot of hip hop bands in DC, which, man, there's just so many things I can't mention. There's a lot of really good rappers that wouldn't shoot up a conference in DC.
Yeah.
Artemis, Portobello Raps, Odyssey, the whole Diamond District crew. There's some good cats out there.
Yeah, but does that put people in? Like, are y'all gonna have a hotel with nobody? That's okay.
Just artists, man. We don't need anybody else, just artists.
Well,
yeah.
It's like we bring folks in because I feel like, because we don't treat. I never feel like we have fans. We have supporters.
Oh.
Because the people who follow us, they're more like they bring more people in, because I don't feel like we do shows even. We host celebrations. We throw parties.
Oh, this motherfucker giving me the pitch deck and shit. He was like, I feel like we give celebrations of life. I don't. That's part of the documentary. That shit was hot. That was good. Seriously. I'm only for real.
I'm being for real.
I feel y'all. I get it. That's why I want to be helpful, man. Anything I can do, like when we had that room and it was just a couple of y'all, and I watched and got it. Like, I get it. Like, I see how important it is. And it's not to get rich. It's just to impact. Like, if y'all reaching 2% of the world and you could go to 6%, let's go to 6, But there's nothing wrong, because y'all not going to do us wrong either. Right. Unless y'all get real big and come out with the Gangstagrass kick-ass song and you beating up Sleeves in the video and shit. I got rid of that bitch and we got Fat Joe's manager and shit.
Oh my god.
He hasn't seen that video yet, I guess.
I mean, Sleeves is already putting us on that level, so we won't even need to change managers. We got that.
Good.
That one's halfway shot already.
Yeah, but I'm not trying, because I don't feel like even if we do blow up like that, I feel like because of where we come from, we've been working class musicians for over a decade. more than that actually. So we won't forget where we came from, but because the people we didn't get there by ourselves. You know what I mean? We got there.
Yeah.
We've got to where we are now because of the people who are behind us. Like I say, they're not fans; they're supporters.
Yeah, I've been doing, also like 10 years in it. I was doing my first gigs in high school, and I didn't start doing this because I necessarily wanted to make a ton of money. I wanted to prove I could make a living, but I didn't need to make a ton of money. People with family members are always trying to pitch me like, "Oh, you got to get on this reality show. I got this plug." And I'm like, I don't want to be on that. I just want to play music. I just want to make sure, like, who's ever running, if I'm playing for folks, if they're running a business, they're running a good business. I've been really lucky throughout my career to work with people that run a good ship. Like, if that's the common thread through it all, everybody has a good business. Coming here with Gangstagrass and Wrench, it's been beautiful. Like,
yeah, but Pharaoh, are you sure like nobody owns a car wash and all of a sudden has like a big Bentley and shit and they pull up to the car wash? DC got a lot of car wash money now.
I've been to crooked churches. I know what that looks like. So
right.
Actually, I have that car wash down the street from my house.
24 hours a day.
There's a car wash down the street from Rich's crib, and like, 24 hours a day. This place never closes.
Yep.
Like in the middle, like 3 o'clock in the morning, you just see Bentleys.
A
line of cars.
Cars down 2 blocks waiting to get to this car wash, and half of them are already spotless. So you're like,
they're already spotless when they put in it.
Yeah.
I swear that's the re-up spot. That's the re-up spot. It just no, that's why I said car washes, man. Car washes were notorious motherfucking pickup places. Like you could go through Gal's Milk in New York and get a 50, you know. Like those were the spots back in the day. And the walk-up windows. But now they're going to be coming by Amazon and shit soon. It's already legal everywhere. So soon people are going to rob you visually long distance on some AI shit. It's just a phone's just going to drop down and fucking take your digital wallet from you. You know, hopefully we can live that long.
For sure.
That's some heavy shit.
I can give you Brooklyn stories, but I can't give it on the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. But like even in, I'm a country boy. Like I started from the bottom. You know, I came from the dirty South in the projects. When I first saw the projects in Boston and the projects in New York, if you compare the projects in major cities to the projects in the South, those are like luxury condos.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You were in Pensacola, right?
Pensacola.
Yeah.
Like the projects in Pensacola, like they deliberately put ground up seashells where grass should be just to make sure the grass did not grow. Deliberately.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You know, I mean, we had the same concrete floors as every other projects, but you also dealt with having to live in the South in Florida with no air conditioning.
Yeah, but you get to cut food with the chainsaw. When you told me that story, I was like, a chainsaw to cut meat and shit. I was like,
that was only after you know, we had enough bread to have an actual house. In the projects, we had to kill. We knew we were killing chickens in the back, but you know, you ain't have to chainsaw. You have to afford the chainsaw first.
Hey, who's that in the chat that keeps saying hello?
Which one?
Something. Check somebody.
Oh, that's
me.
That's our son. This is this is the time that he has to start putting kids to bed. So this is when we sort of transition to the after party. We do have a room on Clubhouse where we're just gonna kind of I'll just keep running the audio through into Clubhouse. And
what, you're on Clubhouse now too?
I'm about to be.
This will be
Oh, okay.
as of now, it'll be on Clubhouse as well.
That's right.
But,
Damn, y'all are sweet, technology driven and shit.
yeah, we've been
man.
stepping up the tech game since all the pandemic started, man.
Yeah, they took away our shows, so we got to get creative. And speaking of, we've got 2 new Barnstormers to shout out that have joined tonight. John Jaramillo and Allison White are our new Barnstormers. We want to welcome and celebrate that we got new.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
I want to give a shout out to 5-1 because I know he tuned in tonight.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, bro.
5.
Yeah, he had his birthday not too long ago.
I'm gonna put a shout out to my mom because I told my mom Paul Porter was on. She's like, "All right."
Okay.
That's all she had to say.
Your mom was in DC too?
My family grew up, or at least my great grandma raised a bunch of my family around DC, but I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and moved back.
Okay. Well, what part of DC?
Off of Minnesota Avenue.
Okay. Yeah, I remember going over there for the first time. I was so scared of Southeast DC because I lived in Northwest on Wisconsin.
Yeah.
There was this stereotype about Southeast back in the day, like, nah, you don't want to go to Southeast. And Southeast was like a fucking picnic, except a couple of little projects. Southeast was wonderful. Like, I didn't get it. Like, DC had parks. Like, I came from New York, so New York was all cement. And, I used to go down to Haynes Point and drive around in the circle in Rock Creek Park. Like, if you outdoors, but people aren't outdoors anymore.
DC is better, man. DC is definitely the way.
Nobody warned me about those parts. I just was out
there. Yeah.
No, I love it. Where were you off of Wisconsin, Paul?
I was at Wisconsin and 2 blocks off of Porter Street at a giant supermarket. Yeah. It was right behind NBC, 3224 Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yep.
I lived up.
If he was off of Porter Street, I know you got a bunch of pictures next to the street sign, right?
Yeah.
Man, I don't have shit, bro. I don't. It was fun. One time I lived right there, and I forgot the name of the restaurant. And me and my boy, who I started the show off with, Garner, we were walking up Wisconsin, and we saw fucking Bill Bradley, and we were Knick fans, right? And he was Senator Bill Bradley, and he was walking to us, and we said, "Dollar Bill." Right. And he stopped and talked to us for like 10 minutes, man. Nice. And I forgot that moment until right now. And it was my boy Garner. He's the reason why I came to DC. And that's a perfect ending. I'll see you motherfuckers
later. I actually do have to bounce.
Yeah.
But Paul, it's been a real pleasure, man. I'm looking forward to getting going.
Hey man, it's like I said, even though this seems like it was about me, it was about you. Because the more I know about you guys, the more I like you. And if there's any way I can help, I'm here to help. And I'll jump over on Clubhouse for a second after I walk my dog over here. She's giving me the look. I got a 108-pound Rottweiler named Diva. Yeah,
Hi,
look.
Diva the Roddy. Hello.
Yeah, that's a big girl. I love Rottweilers.
Yeah. And she's always like 2 inches away from me. So I'm going to have to always have my gun.
Good lap dog.
You got a small bear with you.
Yeah, Paul, we definitely, I still personally have a bunch of questions for you. I want to talk with you a little bit about training listeners, and I want to talk with you about the Telecommunications Act of 1996, and so we can catch up on all that on Clubhouse after your dog walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
plus, as a Florida boy myself, I definitely want to connect with you once, since it's back in the state, once we can get rid of DeSantis and all that good stuff. But even before that, if stuff gets back to normal and folks can be out without, the viral load being
Oh no, for sure, man. That's why I sent you my number, and I'm reaching out. Like the number one thing is people. The more people you talk to, the more opportunities and chances.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
the more, yeah. So I know good people. Go ahead.
The address on the envelope that you sent me with the books is the address.
Man, I'll fuck you up. You say that address, boy. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, that's my house, man. Yeah, that's my house.
Cool. Because I'm gonna send you some stuff.
Okay. No, I was only teasing you, man. But,
I'm not gonna put you on blast.
That's right.
No, I know you were.
We're putting the address in the chat now.
Paul, before you get out of here, I just want to ask specifically, being the young guy in this group, what sort of young guy advice do you got?
Yo, man, soak up some of the old guys. Like, they will save you some time. This is like a time management business. And the thing is that we run out of time. Like, we slow our process down. And a lot of times you can learn from people that have been through some, like I got a saying, chew the meat, spit out the bones. Everything's not right for you, for your career, but there's some stuff that you're going to learn. Like, I'm 63 years old. I'm fucking smarter than you. I know I am. I might not be a better musician than you, but when it comes down to the game of life and playing some of the moves, I can help you with that. And you can help me with some things, but it's getting that balance and getting out of the box. You know, in closing, I go and speak at colleges now, and for the last 10 years, but now I got my price up to $10,000, and I got to solve a problem. And the problem I solve is the thing called the E ratio. And the E ratio is the amount of time that we spend on mobile phones. The E is for entertainment, and the other E is education. So the average person spends 50 minutes on entertainment and 1 minute on education. And the average Black kid spends 200 minutes on entertainment and 1 minute on education. And there's a lot of education in this phone and stuff you can learn to make yourself a better artist, a better person, a better wife, a better husband, whatever you want to be. But we don't spend enough time on it. And if we spend time on it early, it's easier at the end. So take advantage of some of the wise minds that you got in this group and grow with them. And, don't be scared to think outside the box. Like, don't be the little boy of the group either, Like, don't be the talent without the brains, and don't let them bully you, because there's some tough motherfuckers in this group and shit. No, I'm only kidding. But nah, you're good, man, because you're asking questions. And that's the good part. Most people just shut up and listen, and you can't learn without talking.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good to be with these guys. I will admit sometimes, like, I'm 29 years old, and I feel like I've been playing with folks that are older and wiser than me for a long time. And I apologize if I get impatient sometimes, but I take it in.
Yeah, and when you were in the room talking before, I said you got like sort of an old soul too, which is good. I can tell that before this group, if you've only been with them 2.5 years, it's obvious that you've had a lot of fine training in terms of because now the average 29-year-old is really 21 in my eyes. Like, motherfucking development is really slow. If you're 20, you're 13, okay? No, you're not ready for shit at 20, okay? Maybe 15 at the best, but you ain't even close to 17. Like, you have not been anywhere yet. Like, even if you sign a deal, anyway. Yeah. Good stuff tonight for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
To be continued on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse, check out the Rappalachia Club. And we
Rappalachia Club.
Rappalachia.
Okay. It's hard finding rooms on Clubhouse. That's why I look. Well, I'll look for your name because
Yeah.
I put a star next to your name.
You can also look at the Sleeves or at Dolio the Sleuth on Clubhouse. Paul Porter here is also a co-host of the After Party Room tonight, so we will ping
I'm
everybody
at Music
into the
Biz
room.
You. Follow me there.
Hi.
Music Biz You. Yeah, so we'll see you guys all in Clubhouse. Thank you
Okay.
for joining us
I'm
for the
off to
Friday
walk
night
the
team
dog.
stream. Enjoy your walk, Diva.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Good night, Paul. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, thank
All
you,
right,
Paul.
so we're moving over to Clubhouse, and just one last note for everybody watching the stream.
Because he messed up and gave me his number, so he might be starting to get calls from a brother like me.
we are gonna continue to enjoy the wisdom and amazing stories of our guest Paul Porter over on Clubhouse. We'll post also to our socials. We'll post to our Twitter the direct link. So if you're not already on Clubhouse, but you are capable of being on Clubhouse, which I believe at the moment still means iPhone only. Sorry about that, but they're expanding soon. So you can click on that link and it'll automatically join you up for Clubhouse if you click on that link.
Also, and just to recap, anybody that wants to pick up his book, Blackout, My 40 Years in the Music Business by Paul Porter. This is a very invigorating read. Anybody that wants to, I don't know, have their minds blown.
And like real fast, right away.
Right away, like the first page, you get sucked into this thing and you will not be able to stop. Like I couldn't stop. Like I had to teach classes today and I was like, okay, let me figure out what's going on here before I had to do what I had to do. I was washing dishes with one hand and reading with the other hand. That's how sucked in I was with this book.
I'm gonna need this book, y'all.
That's good. That's good.
You can borrow my copy once I'm done with it, which I'll probably be finished with tomorrow.
That's right.
All right.
So
I'll hold you to that.
one more quick note. Join the Barnstormers. On May 31st, the OG Barnstormers, the original supporters of Gangstagrass Barnstormers, will no longer be a category that you can join. You can still be a Barnstormer after that. That's totally cool. But the OG status goes away after May 31st. So join us. We would love to see you on the Barnstormers and give you all of the amazing content that we have there. Some really awesome stuff up right now that just came out, and the Barnstormers will be getting a notice about that soon. So thank you, everybody. Check the Twitter. Join us on Clubhouse.
I will be on Dance Party tomorrow afternoon.
3 p.m. Eastern at Gangstagrass.tv.
In honor of the fact that Paul Porter reminded me of my love. Well, I was already a big fan of Luther Vandross. I'll probably be featuring some deep cuts on Luther tomorrow.
You should have a Luther and Luke mix.
Luke? Y'all like the Luke that I put in last time? Because I didn't get into my Luke mix last time. I had to get into that. I might have to dig some more Luke out because
Luke is actually a Luther as well, right?
Yeah, his name is Luther Campbell.
Yeah, so Luther and Luther.
Yeah, and big shout out to Luther Campbell. We had a quick exchange on Twitter this week.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Because I was trying to encourage him to run for office to get into Congress.
Nice.
Brother Campbell is a huge advocate for the Constitution. Because if there were no Luther Campbell, there would not be a mental advisory.
That's right.
Because he went up and he put his whole everything on the line in front of the Supreme Court of the United States of America in order to defend our First Amendment rights. So, yeah, I'll probably go up and play some Luke. I need to play more Luke in the mix because I had a lot of good fun playing Luke last time.
But by the way, he said second time around, and just for my sake, if you could also play Second Time Around by Shalimar too.
You got to remind send me a text so I don't forget.
Play every song called Second Time Around. Just
We got another Barnstormer just now. So shout out to Ina Travis for joining the super cool club and becoming an OG Barnstormer.
Welcome
What's up, Ina?
Yeah.
thank you. We look forward to sending you more awesome stuff. And thank you everybody for staying up with us.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So we're reconvening on Clubhouse.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who's gonna get the original version of Not the Same from my solo album.
Mm-hmm. That's coming up for all the Barnstormers are going to get that download.
Yeah.
In your face.
All right, man.
Oh, I typed in Ina Travis in my text. That was the wrong person.
All right, y'all. Well, enjoy that Clubhouse chat. I think I got to bounce on this end. But
good night to all our folks, all our brokes out there. We'll be in touch, and thanks for tuning in.
Sweet.
Thanks, everybody.